CapCAN Knows, the official podcast of the Capital Area College Access Network. We are excited to engage the community in conversations about college access. I am your host, Eric Cashman, in America Vista, serving with CapCAN. Joining me is CapCAN's Executive Director, Michelle Strauss, and our guest, Kendra Elam, a member of Becoming Visible Coalition through the Michigan State University School, College of Nursing. So let's get started. First of all, Kendra, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Excited to see you again.
Thank you. You too.
So we begin our podcast with a personal story of who encouraged you to continue your education beyond high school and why was it important to you? Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I think it's a who and a what. Being from a single parent home, low income, first generation college student, and a minority, education was the key. I did have some representation of those that received higher education. And then I actually worked at a video store where there was a nurse that came in quite often, and she invested in me and asked me what I was going to do and helped me get my first healthcare job. And so that helped me get my start.
That's cool. It's always a village, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Great. And you attended what school and what have you continued to do in your education?
For my nursing, I actually started out at Lansing Community College. Got my associate's degree there, and then I came to Michigan State University for the RN and BSN program. I got my bachelor's, and I have a master's in nursing education from Fair State University.
Great. So we're going to talk today a lot about nursing and about healthcare. Mm-hmm. So your work has really focused on promoting young women of color being engaged in the healthcare industry. Could you tell us what is Becoming Visible and what is the coalition doing to really support inclusion?
Becoming Visible was established at Michigan State University because of the lack of women of color in healthcare and how we could help increase that through career fairs and we did some webinars to talk about healthcare. As far as inclusion, inclusion is allowing students or anybody to feel valued, appreciated, and respected and supported. And that's just what Becoming Visible does for a young woman of color. And it empowers them that they can do whatever they want to do, and we want to help them do that.
Mm-hmm. So why do we want to make sure that we have young women of color in healthcare professions?
Because there is a huge shortage. There's not a representation based on the healthcare population of women of color. In about 2043, the minority will be the majority here in our country. And it has been proven and researched that when patients see healthcare providers that look like them, it helps eliminate healthcare disparities and increase trusting relationships, which increases health equity.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what the Michigan State College of Nursing is specifically doing to address this and then its relationship with Becoming Visible?
Yes, we have a nursing workforce diversity program here at Michigan State University's College of Nursing that started in 2010. And the goal is to increase diversity in nursing by way of supporting through, in this case, academically. We provide culturally competent education. Our access program is our nursing component that increases diversity, and it is access stands for Achieving Culturally Competent Education and Student Success. And through that program, we enroll students and support them to pursue nursing academically, through tutoring and mentoring, also through whatever barriers they may have to overcome. We support them as best as we can to help them reach their goal of becoming a nurse.
So I'm just going to follow up for a second. Can you talk a little bit about the specific activities that Becoming Visible is engaged in right now to really encourage young women to look at these health careers?
Yes, we are promoting. Most recently, we had some webinars. One of our awesome village of diversity that we have in on our program. Went out to Harry Hill to help in the initiative of providing scrubs for some students in the healthcare field, which is awesome. We are planning to have a health fair over the summer. In the past, when it was safe, we had in-person career fairs, and most recently, last semester, we had some webinars that talked about different healthcare professions where students can get on and ask questions, and we give help and support and help them navigate the education pathway for them to reach their goal of becoming a healthcare professional.
Mhm. And just so our listeners know, we have a Facebook page where people can follow and learn more about becoming visible, and then find out when there are events, educational events for students to be engaged with. So something for people to check out as we are looking for more experience, especially over the summer for students.
For sure.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you already kind of touched on this a little bit by saying that health outcomes are more equitable when people see doctors who look like them. So I was wondering, what are the benefits of diverse personnel in healthcare? Could you touch on that a bit more?
Yes, I make this joke that we have to embrace diversity. We should. What if everybody looked and act like me in the whole world? How boring, maybe not, but yeah, how boring would that be, right? We all bring our diverse perspectives, our thoughts, and that's value. We all can't think the same and do the same and make change that we need to make. And so it is very important. I mean, it just helps with the overall creativity in what we're doing, decision making, just makes for diversity is awesome. Our difference is something we should all value. And what I have to offer, it's not what you have, but what you have to offer is not what I have. And so together we can make a difference.
So on the other hand, why would having a lack of diversity be problematic? Obviously, you already mentioned that we all bring different things to the table. So what's the flip side of that?
Yeah, the lack of diversity, unfortunately, it increases the negative health outcomes of patients. Our patient population has become more diverse, and so our healthcare population has to mirror that diversity. When you bring diversity to the table, it increases cultural competency. Our different cultures come together and we can relate to our patients' culture, and they appreciate that when they are listened to and we allow them to be a part of their healthcare plan that empowers them, and then they're more apt to be compliant in what we suggest for their healthcare. And when we listen to who they are as a person, they know what they need. We can incorporate that in their care. And then together we have this team to increase healthier lives for our patients.
Mhm. And too often we know in healthcare that people are seeking things out in an emergency rather than having consistent relationships in healthcare. And we know the benefits of having that cultural competence really increases that consistency of care too.
So true, so true. Our patients will want to receive the health care that's available to them when we encourage them to do so. When we say, I'm here for you, I want you to be well, I want you to be healthy. That means everything for a patient.
Definitely. It makes us all more relatable
Yes.
to that person's experience. So
Yes, I agree.
that's great. So what are unique challenges that our nursing students of color are facing as they come into the system? And then what is MSU in particular doing to address that?
Sometimes there are, for women in general, there is sexism. We don't always get paid the same amount as men. And that's a long-standing issue. Sometimes there are, microaggressions that are shared, and sometimes that doesn't make people of color or women of color feel included when they come into an environment where they are the minority. And I think mentoring is important, for somebody to come along and just grab you by the hand and say, I got you, right? It's a little bit intimidating anyway to come into healthcare and know the responsibilities that we are charged with. And to need help. We all need help. So someone to come along and mentor us through the process is very beneficial for successful healthcare.
And who should or how should young women reach out if they're more interested in either becoming visible or in programs at MSU, particularly this summer?
This summer, we have our Facebook page, as you mentioned. I am available. I know the entire staff on the Becoming Visible and Becoming Visible program is available for any questions, anything, talking, mentoring. We're all mentors to our students. We want them to know that. We're just available. Can go on Facebook and call us or message us, and we'll be sure to get back. The College of Nursing will be hosting a Future Nurse Camp. Those are specific for students that want to do nursing, and that's through the high school, Lansing High School District. That is those students, and so that will be available in July, and our health fair is coming up in August. And so we're hoping that the students will see us there and get interested in what we're doing from all the things that we're going to do, that they'll get interested in it and ask more questions and see how they can become a healthcare professional.
Right. So you're referring to the sports physicals that the Becoming Visible team is going to implement for the Lansing School District. So what do you expect when you come in for a sports physical?
You expect to get a head to toe assessment, top to bottom, and see how everything is working. And there's a form that the students will have. A lot of sports athletes are very familiar with this form that they need to have completed to play safely. So we will have nurses and physicians and student nurses there to take blood pressures and see how they're doing, do some gait, see how they walk, that's their gait, their step, and just make sure they're healthy for the athletic season that's to come.
All right. And we'll also have more information about the different healthcare programs that are offered through our college partners. So students who are interested can get more information and ask some questions too.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
So it seems we're coming to the end of the interview, and I have one last question for you. We end every interview with hashtag CapCAN knows, where you would say your name and what you know. So I ask you, Kendra, who are you and what do you know?
I'm Kendra Elam. I'm a registered nurse, passionate about nursing, passionate about healthcare. And what I do know is that diversity is essential for healthcare.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that is all the time we have for today. I want to thank Kendra for coming on the podcast chat with CapCAN.
Thank you. You're welcome.
For more information on CapCAN, please be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. The links will be in the video description below, or visit our website at capcan.org. Thank you for listening to us today, and we will see you again soon.